Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday morning trading room. My name is Eric Senft. I'm going to be your host here for the next hour and a half or so. We'll see what the markets do. For those of you new to our trading room this morning, welcome. What you're looking at here is the Diversified trading system. And it's diversified because we're looking at the market from 3 different points of view. Here in the top left, we have the Hawk Scalper. In the top right, we have the Falcon Swing Trader. The bottom left, we have the Eagle Trend Trader, and the bottom right, we have the Raptor. The charts you're looking at here are the NASDAQ. I'm also following crude oil and gold, but I would be happy to take a look at any market which is of interest to you. And just a real quick overview of what you're looking at here, how the signals are generated. You're going to notice that the trade signals are all generated the same way. Namely, when the trade parameters are first being met, we're going to get a warning dot and an audio alert. Then when all the trade parameters are met, we're going to get a triangle and a hash mark. That tells us that everything is ready, time for us to make a trading decision, and then we will buy or sell accordingly. Now, you're going to see that some of these signals are going to prove to be higher probability signals. We're going to be focusing mostly on those. But it's just a couple of minutes into the market open here. So we'll just let the dust settle somewhat. Let's see what's been going on in the overnight. I'll go here to the Eagle. And actually the overnight looks like it was pretty whippy. So the London Open right about here, a little bit of up and down action, no real trend. But let's see, where did we open? We opened around 42.08. And you can see here from yesterday's session toward the close, the market took a steep decline. So this is going to look a little bit like an opening gap to the traders this morning. We might take a look at perhaps taking a long position here. All right, well, while we're waiting for them to sort themselves out, we'll take a quick look here at the Raptor. The Raptor is the latest addition to the DTS family. The Raptor actually incorporates elements of the other 3 birds all into one trading tool. So you're going to have elements of the Hawk, the Falcon, and the Eagle all combined into one. It looks like we're working on a hard edge bounce here right now, and I'm debating taking a second push on this entry. All right, well, you know what? We are in a demo room, so I might as well demo the software for you. So with what we did is we generated a buy signal right here. It's what we would refer to as a hard edge bounce. The momentum is waning somewhat, but what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the market to try to fill that gap. All right, so here we go. We've got our long position, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the Trailblazer to initiate a stop. The Trailblazer has 16 different stop strategies to it. There we go. Now, the nice thing about the Trailblazer is that it's automatically going to manage my stop for me. You see how it just rolled the stop up there for me? It was down here. Now it's rolled it up to here. I actually want to hold it back a little bit, so I'm going to roll it back here to the original placement. Now, if the market moves a little bit in our direction here, I'm going to use the Trailblazer, and you're going to see how the automatic programming is going to roll your stops automatically for you. All right, so let's get a little bit of a swing in here. Come on, I've got my break even and my profit target set at the same level. That's why we've got that little bit of overlap. Okay, it looks like the buyers have come back into the market, so time to get perhaps a little bit more aggressive with my stop strategy. I'll go to the parabolics So I'm going to enable the parabolics, and you see now how the Trailblazer is going to roll my stops as the market moves in my direction. Once we hit the break-even trigger, or if we hit the break-even trigger, you're going to see the Trailblazer take my stop from here and snap it to the break-even. There we go. So we've hit our first profit objective. Now we're holding at break-even until the parabolics will catch up. So we're challenging the highs of the day here. We've taken profit on one of our positions. We've got another open contract right now sitting at break-even +1. I can set that at whatever I want, by the way. Now the nice thing about this is I don't need to manage this trade anymore. You know, if I didn't get stopped out on that little reversal, I could actually be looking at my other charts right now for another trading opportunity. So that's the beauty of, you know, the tool like the Trailblazer. I have the trade manager here on the other tools, on the other birds. They're interchangeable. I could put the Trailblazer on here, or I could put the trade manager on the Raptor. What's the difference, you ask? Well, the difference is the trade manager has this risk component built in. So it will set my stops at automatically at 2% of my trading capital. So we're working on a red bar buy signal here. Not the strongest of signals, but you see we've got a little bit of trend line support here. Oh, my red bar buy has turned into yellow bars, so we're going to nix that here for the moment. Thought we might see a little bit of a rally out of that. Still working a red bar buy. I'll throw the order in. Again, this isn't the strongest looking order right now, but notice how the trade manager keeps adjusting my position. Oh, I didn't get a proper signal there, so forgive me, but we'll use this still as a demonstration. So the position size gets adjusted based on how much I'm prepared to risk. So I've got a break-even trigger here set at about 80% of my profit objective. Come on, get up there, get to the break-even. I can also force the trade to break even by hitting the break even button, providing it has a positive balance. It won't move to break even if the trade has a negative balance. All right, I'm going to manually bring my stops in a little bit. It does look as though the trade is rolling over. If we can get a little bit of a run here, it will really be easy to demonstrate to you how the trade manager manages your trade for you. And like I say, there's 16 different stop strategies. You can preview them. You can choose whichever one you like. So let's say I wanted to go with a fixed tick strategy. And I'm going to get stopped out here in just a second, so I can't show you. That wasn't a legitimate signal, by the way. In case you're wondering, why did he take that? Well, I just did it to show you how the software works. I don't anticipate much of a day-to-day with the FOMC meeting minutes being released this afternoon. If we do get anything really promising, I will point it out to you. Let's see, I'm also watching crude oil. Oh, we're getting a late filter entry signal here on crude on the Falcon. This is actually a high probability signal. You can see it's tripped already, but I might be able to pick it up off of this next bar. Yes, I can. All right, so we're going to let the late filter entry signal on the Falcon is a pretty high probability signal. The way it looks is we have this trend line that flows through the Falcon. So when the trend line is green, we're looking primarily for buy signals, and when it's red, we're looking for sell signals. Simple enough. The late filter entry signal occurs when your filter here down below goes out of sync and then comes back into sync. But the whole time, your trend line does not change color. So the trend line holds steady, filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. We generate a buy signal, so we get the warning dot and the audio alert. And then we get the triangle and the hash mark. And I should have actually taken the trade from down here, but I was a little bit late getting to it. But we should have enough follow through on this trade to at least get to our high probability profit target. If crude oil ever decides to get going. Come on, get going. There we go. So here too, I may choose to, because it is crude oil, let's see, where are my stops? I'll use the ATR stop. So I'm going to enable those. So now the trade manager will manage my trade according to the ATR stops. So we just hit the break even trigger, and come on, get up there. Come on, don't you dare. Here, we'll give it a little push with the mouse. Get up there. Come on. Crude inventory today, of course, in about 45 minutes time. And they're looking like maybe they're a little bit more bullish. My problem here on the crude trade is that I didn't take it on the hash mark. So we've already passed our high probability profit objective, although I'm fairly confident we're going to get this trade. Come on. Oh, don't you dare take me out of break even. What have we got in open profit? Oh, $100. If I was smart, I would take it. Come on. Come on. Once this trade, well here, I'll close the trade out. I'll show you what I mean about the high probability profit target. So had I taken the trade on the hash mark, as was my intention, oops. So we'll take it on the hash mark, we'll cover it below here. You see we hit our high probability profit target. And what tends to happen more often than not is the market will hesitate once we hit our high probability objective. So that's what's going on right now. I do believe crude oil will go higher from here. But just, those couple of ticks that I was late, the market is coming up a tick short of my profit objective. That's why we try to take it on the hash mark whenever possible, unless we have good reason not to. Yeah, like Rob says, scoundrels. I know, I always say that. All right, so the NQ, while that was going on crude oil, we got a green bar sell here on the NQ. And that had some decent follow through. This is a first micro macro cross, one of our high probability signals, and it looks like that just found its profit objective. Yes, it did. All right, so crude flip-flopping a little bit. Not much going on in gold right now. Let's see if we get a 4-arrow consolidation here out of the hawk. And what I would like to see here on the eagle, now that the band has changed direction. Now this trading band is what we use for our directionality. Is I would like to see it come here into the hard edge. We get some very good quality signals out of the hard edge on the eagle. A lot of choppiness here. This was in the overnight. But if I go back, you can see the band changes direction, goes from bullish to bearish. The market retreats into the hard edge, comes out, produces a signal. This is our signal right here. So everything is in sync. The band is bearish. Red warning dot, red bars, red filter, and pretty good follow through from there. The eagle actually has the other high probability signal where things are out of sync. but it's nevertheless a good quality signal, not too difficult to recognize. It's what we call in the downtrend a green bar sell. So we trade into the hard edge. The market produces a sell signal, but the bars are green, and it tends to have pretty good follow through. It looks like they got stymied on this one. Oh, just for a little bit. Look at this. We produced 3 green bar sells in a row. One here, one here, one here. And then the market finally tailed off somewhat. At least enough to find our profit objective. Okay, so we're coming into the hard edge now on the eagle. We'll see whether or not that translates into a sell signal or not. Gold really flat this morning. My goodness, they're not doing anything. The hawk now into yellow bars here on the NQ. Possible trend change signal here on the Falcon. Let's take a look at the Falcon. We're taking a nice little bounce off of the median line. Looks like the market's been sandwiched between the primary resistance and the primary or the median line for the most part. Now these lines that you see on here, this is actually an add-on. I'll just tell you about them really quick. This is the Ultimate Support and Resistance Suite. It's an assortment of 21 support and resistance lines which are forecast for today's trading. They are not pivot points and they are not Fibonacci retracements. They are much better. And I'm sincere about that. I'm not just saying that tongue in cheek. No, these are working very well. I'm very proud of these. They'll work on any chart that you can plot on NinjaTrader. And it's not specific to DTS. So if you're running a 5-minute chart or a tick chart or a stock chart or a Forex chart, it doesn't matter. All right, so the trend change signal now here on the Falcon occurs when the trend line changes color. So we've got the red going to the green, and we get this little pattern develop. So we've got this part here, the up portion that forces the trend line to change color. Now we're watching the sellers try to fight the market lower, try to resume that downtrend. And what we're waiting on is we're waiting for the buyers to come back to show us that, in fact, they do control the market. And it's essentially going to be our first in sync signal. It will technically be counter trend based on what's going on this morning, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see the market range bound because of the FOMC minutes that are supposed to be coming out this afternoon. So I'm just getting my order handy here. No, we're starting to turn over again. We're interjecting a red line here, a red trend line, so that may well spoil our signal. Oh, here's the hard edge bounce that I was telling you about. So we'll see if we can't take that. It's tough when the market is range bound like this. We encountered this problem the other day. Monday and Tuesday sessions were very range bound. We did get some signals out of them, but for the most part, we were just kind of sitting on our hands waiting for the market to come around. The big obstacle, of course, these lows right here. This also gives me a chance to point out to you, you may have noticed the width of these bars are changing. Some are fatter, some are thinner. This is the dynamic equivolume bars from Indicator Warehouse. This is also an add-on, which means it will work on any chart, whether it be a 5-minute chart or, here I should get serious about doing something with my stops. Whether it be a 5-minute chart or a tick chart or a range bar chart or whatever. You get my point. The dynamic equivolume bars show you graphically the volume associated with each bar. It was actually, equivolume charting was developed by Richard Arms. And the fatter bars have more volume to them. The thinner bars have less volume. So what you're going to notice is that when the bars are thin, the market trends pretty well. And when the bars get fat, that's usually when the market turns. So you see how we had this fat bar on this signal? That gives us a little bit more confidence in taking that trade. Now, if this bar starts to get fat, I'm going to assume, see, there's more selling, or pardon me, more buying coming into the market. Right now, the sellers have control, and we're just shy of the break-even target, but I'm going to force this trade to break even. So I hit the break-even trigger. We're currently at break-even +1. And, you know, you can always just let your pocketbook be your guide. There's $100 laying there for you to pick up. So, you know, don't be shy about taking it. All right, so we've hit the break-even trigger, and we're almost to our profit objective. I'm going to use the more aggressive stop, maybe like the bar high-low, just so you can see the trade manager roll the stops in. So currently, I'm using the bar high-low, and this is a very aggressive stop strategy. It will take you out of the market at the first sign of weakness. So I'm currently 2 bars back with a 2-tick offset off of the high. That's what that means. So that's all the wiggle room I'm giving the market on this trade. And it looks like there's a little bit of buying showing up. Maybe kind of, sort of. A good question, Jose. Jose asks, are you planning to build on the MT4 platform? There has been talk about it. To be honest, the problem is, and I'm not knocking MetaTrader or TradeStation or any of those other platforms, but their programming, their coding is not robust enough to run the software. Ninjatrader is actually the most sophisticated or one of the most sophisticated charting programs out there as far as coding goes. That's why we were able to program something like this trade manager with the risk component built in, with the preset stops, you know, with all the different stop strategies and the automated stop trailing. Those would not be possible to do on other platforms at the moment. Now, the good news is Ninjatrader is free to use until you start using it to execute your orders, then you pay a licensing fee. And I do know of a couple of traders who love their current trading platform, and what they do is they run Ninjatrader in parallel with their other platform. So what they would do is they would, you know, set the order and trade the order on Ninja, or follow the order on Ninja and trade the order on their other platform. So if they got stopped out on this trade, they would hit their exit button on their other trading platform. I know it sounds a little cumbersome, but that's what they have chosen to do. Jose, I don't quite understand your comment, but Jose says you can build EA. Not entirely sure what that means. I'm certainly not a programmer. This is just what the programming guys have told me. And Adam, excuse me, Adam likes to share that the fellow who did the programming for the trade manager, that's this component right here, he also programs or does the programming for the cruise missiles for the US military. And no, he's not joking about that. So you know this programming is very tight. Good morning, Tony. Yeah, not to worry. Tony says I'm late to the party, but you haven't missed much. We squeaked a couple little trades, but for the most part, not too much going on, as we kind of expected. So here we go. We're flashing another trend change signal. Now, I'm not encouraging you to take a trend change signal, although we still have that gap looming from this morning. But this is one of the luxuries of moderating a trade room. I can show you these kinds of things. So we've got the trend change signal building, right? The trend line has changed here on the Falcon. We're still hovering around this median line, which means the market's in balance. All right, so there's our signal. I'm going to be a little bit late. I'm going to take it above this high. Now, one thing you should know about the triangle and the hash mark is that they are merely a suggested entry. So if, for instance, you draw a trend line and you say, there's a trend line there, or it's only a couple of ticks to this recent swing high, there's nothing that prevents you from placing your entry a little bit further away, as I have done here, especially on a counter trend signal, right? We don't want to get too anxious on a counter trend. All right, so we've now generated a sell signal, so we can nix that signal, close that out until we get a little bit more structure. We'll see if they make a higher swing low here. That would definitely lend some support to the buyers. In fact, it looks like we're getting what we call a soft edge buy here in the Raptor. And if we produce that soft edge buy signal, I'm going to show you something here on the Raptor, which makes this trailblazer unique to the trade manager. On the trade manager, you've seen me, set up for the signals. I hit the set prices button and I place my entry and my stop. I've already got my profit target preset. And you can split the profit targets up, by the way. So let's say I wanted to take half my target on 20 ticks and the other half at 30 ticks. I can do that too. So I would set up my trade, and now I've got my two separate targets. I can leave a runner in. I can split them up any way I like. That's something that I forget to show people sometimes. But right now, given the kind of session it is, I'm just going to go all in, all out. But here on the Trailblazer, it's a one-click entry system. You're going to see we don't have the risk manager component down here. So when you're using the Trailblazer, you need to know more or less what your risk exposure will be. Now, what the Trailblazer does have is it has the one-click entry system. So let's say I was looking to take this sell signal. I'm going to flip my stop over. I can just hit the sell market button and automatically I get my stop loss. I get my, come here. There we go. So automatically I get my entry, I get my stop loss based on whatever my stop strategy is. I've got my break even trigger and I have my profit target, all with one click. All right, so that's what makes the Trailblazer unique, is that if you're requiring faster entries, say if you're using the Hawk Scalper, I've often thought about putting the Trailblazer here on the Hawk Scalper because I can enter just with one click. But you need to know more or less what your risk exposure will look like. Good question, Tony. Tony asks, Eric, how is it best to remove some unwanted old accounts? Honestly, I don't know, Tony. That's probably a question that you should send to NinjaTrader support. They're very good at getting back to you. Or you can shoot an email to Ben. He'll get you squared away as well. Jose is asking, can we take a look at the Canadian dollar? Absolutely. Hold on one sec here. I'll throw the Canadian dollar on my chart. All right, so we're just letting the Canadian dollar load up. Okay, we'll start here with the Raptor. Oh, and I forgot to mention here on the Raptor, this particular tool here, this is the Geiger counter. This is essentially a tape reader. It gives you a visual representation of the time and sales. What's great about the Geiger counter is, well, not only do you see how the time and sales unfold here, and this is just fresh because it's a clean chart, but this dial is also very helpful. So when you see this dial pull over and hold and hold and hold, that tells you that there's a lot of sellers chewing through the buy orders, and we're probably going to see the market move a little bit lower. At least that's how it's looking according to the Geiger counter. So right now here on the Raptor, I've also got my support and resistance suite on here. Same thing, we're kind of stuck between the primary resistance and the median line. We did just generate a buy signal, which would be a buy above the high, so above 71.10. But it does appear as though we have a little bit of an uptrend in the Canadian dollar, at least according to the Raptor. One second here, I'm going to bring over the Hawk Scalper. Now the Canadian dollar, let me see here the daybreak lines. That might be about as tight as I would allow. What I'm looking for here is the session break lines. Whether or not I need to adjust the brick size. We do have an alternate setting for these tools, and I'm going to load the Canadian dollar on my alternate setting and just see if that isn't a little better. You see, what happens is when the daybreak lines are too close together like this, we're not going to generate enough signals. There's still quality signals. You can see, well, this is a first micro-macro cross on the Hawk. This is a very high probability signal. You can see it had exceptional follow-through. But if you're day trading, not that many signals coming out of here. So if I use the alternate settings, which I'll bring over here in a second, here's the same chart with the alternate setting. And you can see we just generate a few more signals. Right? There's a few more opportunities. This is the same day that you just saw, that I just showed you. So here's a first micro macro cross that developed about an hour into the London session. Here's the North American Open. We get a macro pullback signal. Here's another macro pullback signal. And now what you're asking me about is today's session. Well, the Canadian dollar flip-flopping a little bit. Currently, these yellow bars are putting the nicks on things. Yellow bars on the Hawk tell us the market is very neutral, and so we tend to avoid it until we get a solid signal. But right now, it does appear to be a little bit more bearish, at least, for the immediate future, for the next half hour. It does appear to be a little bit more bearish than bullish, at least according to the Hawk Scalper. Let's take a look at the Falcon Swing Trader. So So here now is the Falcon swing trader, and it too is trying to work on a trend change signal to the downside. It's not complete yet. We did get a trend change signal back here. Currencies open early, don't they? Yes, they do. So a little bit out of the open, we got a trend change signal right here. So notice the trend line changed color. Here's the down, here's the up, and now the sellers come back, generate a signal, everything is in sync, and down we go to the median line. So once again, we're stuck between primary resistance and the median. So not much to see there. Let's take a look at the Eagle trend trader for the Canadian dollar. And yeah, this one, you can really see the sideways action, no real trend going on here. Working on a rule of three sell signal, actually. So we've had our test of the extreme, that's this part right here. It is simply a retest of the high and a failure. We've got a bullish band, but we're generating sell signals. So it's looking to me like if it breaks below 70.83, it's probably going to try to retest down here 70.65. No signal just yet. It's just kind of setting up at the moment. Still pretty sideways. All right, so that's the Canadian dollar. And it looks like the NQ tailed off here nicely. So what do we have here? So here's that hard edge bounce that I was telling you about. I think this one took me out on break even, didn't it? I forced my stop early. So there's our hard edge bounce. I forget exactly how I had it set up. Yes, stopped me at break even, came back with another signal, and that one has since found our profit target. If I wasn't quite as quick with my stop on that one, I would have rode out that little swing and would have hit the other profit target as well. But like I said, it's part of the trading room is showing you how these things work, because there are no demos with this software. That's why we're here. All right, you can see here on the hawk now, we're definitely starting to drift a little bit sideways. Oh, and look at this. Traded all the way down to primary support. So let's say you didn't want to use the preset profit target. Let's say you wanted to trade to the next support zone. Well, you can click your target as well as having your target preset. So here we have the trend change signal. See, the trend line goes from green to red. Here's the down, here's the up, here's the down. We generate our signal, everything is in sync, and best of all, it's with trend. So let's say we wanted to use the primary support as our profit objective. We could certainly set the trade up that way. And so this one is textbook. The market brings you in, never really looks back, makes pretty much a beeline to our profit objective, and then starts to flounder a little bit. But yeah, look at that, almost hit the primary support on the button. You don't need too many trades like that a day to make it worthwhile. So once again, very solid signal, that trend change signal, very high probability trade. Here's a trend change signal to the upside. Well, this one's a little bit more protracted because we had this little bit in there. Here's a decent trend change signal. It looks a little messy, but once you know what to look for, it's not that hard to spot. So we get the down, or pardon me, the trend line changes color from red to green. Here's the up, here's the down, here's the up, here's the signal where everything is in sync, right? So we've got the green bars, green signal, green filter, green trend line, and up we go. Yeah, I've heard that before, Tony. Tony says, in my opinion, never discount the support and resistance lines. They're like magnets. Omar, who trades the Forex with the DTS system, he loves the support and resistance suite as well. That's what he does. He'll use those lines as targets all the time. So if he had a trade like this one that we're looking at right here, what he would do is he'd be more aggressive still. He would cover here, or pardon me, he'd enter here. He would use the median line to cover his trade. Now, I think with the swing being this close, he may even offer up the little bit extra and take the swing high. But he'll use the support and resistance line to cover his trade, and he'll definitely use the other one as a target. So what you're going to notice here with Trade Manager is that my risk amount never really changes. But what does change is my quantity. So in this trade, the way I have it set up, which is relatively tight, I have $340 at risk. Let's make that a little bit bigger. So I have $340 at risk. If I set the trade up like this, go above the swing high, I still have $300 at risk, but look at what happened to the quantity. The quantity changed. And if I set up the trade, say, to go above this swing high, I still have about $300 at risk, but the quantity has changed again. So this is a very important concept, folks. You want to maintain your risk exposure. Most people do the exact opposite. They keep the number of contracts they trade the same, and one time they may be risking $100 and the next time they might be risking $500. All right, so it does look like the NQ has a little bit of a trend going on today. Had another first micro macro cross signal right here. This is one of our high probability signals again. Yeah, let's see what else we have. Oh yeah, thanks Tony. What would I do without you guys? Tony says crude inventory in about 15 minutes time. All right, let's bring the crude oil market over here. And what we'll do with crude is going into inventory report. If the market has established a trading range, very often I'll use the OCO function to bracket that range and just let the market, trade higher or lower based on what's going on or on the breakout from that trading range. But right now, I don't really see much of a range. We do have lows here. I guess the range looks something like this. But I really need to see the market get back here toward the middle of this trading range before I get too keen on doing anything. At least from a bracket scenario. Okay, so we've engaged the signal. This is one of these Falcon signals that has triggered away from the trend line. So when that happens, We normally anticipate the market to retreat into the trend line a little bit before possibly continuing. I'm hoping that happens in the next 10 or 15 minutes, because that would pretty much put the market in the middle of this trading range and make it much easier to take an OCO style order. Yeah, I agree, Tony. Tony says DTS is leading the way today. It's surprising, well, it shouldn't be surprising, but it is surprising to me how often DTS will pick the direction the market will take before the report is released. All right, so here they come. And if we can get them trading back here, ideally around 31, but I'll take anything in the neighborhood, then we can bracket this market. Now, when you use the OCO function, these orders are live the moment you put them on your chart. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to bracket above the primary resistance and bracket below the primary support. It's not a very inviting trade, but we'll hold it at that for now. Now, because these orders are live, I can roll them in. So what I'll do is, I'll eventually bring my buy stop there, and if we see crude oil rally a little bit here, get somewhere around $31, I'll be able to roll that in a little bit too. Tony says, back in the good old days, this weekly crude oil trade was his bread and butter trade. Good old days. Tony, you're making yourself sound old. Back in my day, we had to use paper charts. We had to get them in the mail. We had to update them by hand. All of which is true. It was much more difficult to day trade without an internet. Yeah, Tony's dating himself too. He says, when I started, we used a phone and a $40 round turn in and out trade. I was paying 70. $40, shoot. Those were the discount brokers. But yeah, level 2 data costs $350 a month, Tony said. I know, isn't it crazy? wonder how many of those brokerages are still around. The ones I used to charge, from $70 to $100 round turn to execute an order. Oh, it's almost criminal. Well, almost criminal. It is criminal. You see what's involved. We execute our own orders every day. All right, so not quite the range I was looking for, but it may have to do. If we can't get any closer to 31, I think I'll leave my entry down here below the primary support. And we'll see what goes on with the crude inventory today, because it's kind of been lackluster the last little while. The other thing you can do with the crude inventory is what a friend of mine tends to do, is he'll let the inventory report hit the floor. So just let the fur fly for the first minute or two, whatever it takes. The market will establish a range, and then he'll bracket that range. The idea being that once the initial shock of the report is through, then it will settle on a trend. I guess the other thing I need to do is I need to enable a stop here, because if the market is going to go crazy, I need to have a stop in play. All right, the buyer's trying to get a little bit more bullish, but honestly, until they get above this high, nothing's going to happen on their end. Are we going to see crude oil slip back below $30 a barrel? Wow. Can't believe I said that. It wasn't that long ago that we were looking at crude oil prices pushing $130 a barrel. Everybody thinking that it was going to go to 200. All right, what do we got? We've got about 5 or 6 minutes before the inventory report still. I'm just going to take a look here at the NASDAQ. No, they're still in a little bit of a tailspin. We did generate some quality signals on the way down. Here's the Raptor with a nice hard edge bounce signal. Excellent progression on that. The clouds are starting to get very wide now on the Raptors. This is usually when we anticipate what we call the soft edge buy, and perhaps a retracement to one of these hard edges. So we'll take a look here. If we get a soft edge buy, what I'll do is I'll throw in a buy order just for demonstration purposes. So I've got my stop enabled. We've got the higher swing low. That's the first part. Now what I'm doing is I'm waiting on the buy signal. No, not yet. Let's see if we get that failure. Come on. No, they're going to retest the lows and perhaps make one more breakout before we get the reversal. Like I said, this cloud is very, very wide. When the cloud gets to be overextended like that, we definitely have a market which is oversold, and there is a chance we may see a reversal. Lots of trading going on here. You can see lots of sideways action. There's contracts being turned over here, but not much follow through at the moment. I'd love to see a nice fat bar build right here, similar to the one that was here. That would pretty much confirm my suspicions that the buyers are getting a little bit stronger, but right now it's just a guess. I won't get too excited just yet. All right, so we're only a few minutes from inventory. If you're watching the NQ, we'll be right back to that. All right, and here's the crude inventory. No, I'm going to leave my sell stop down here by the primary support. Hopefully that'll be out of harm's way. And a couple minutes time, we'll see which way the wind is blowing. Well, sellers are definitely strong. Alexandra is asking, can you look at the YM, please? Absolutely, Alexandra. Give me just 2 minutes. We're going to let the crude market do its thing, and then I'll pull up the YM for you. Actually, I already have the YM on my Raptor, so I can bring that up for you. Oops, wrong tool. Where did it go? Maybe I closed in an error. The mini Dow is a great market. I really like the YM. I look at the NASDAQ as it tends to have a little bit more volatility to it. Pardon me. All right, so actually getting a late filter entry signal here on the DTS system, which would be a sell signal. They've just engaged the order. We'll see whether or not that follows through there now. Okay, and we should, oh, I should have put the Geiger counter on here so that we can see the market flow. Is there still time? No, I better not. It's only a few seconds. See how dead they are right now? That means the inventory report's going to hit the floor any second. And we're going to see these bars get very excited here in a moment. Or maybe not. It wouldn't be the first time that we wait. Oh, there they go. I was going to say it wouldn't be the first time we wait on the inventory report only to be disappointed by its performance. All right, so they're back here around the 31 area. Now the range has gotten a little bit tighter. So if you wanted, you could roll your stop below here, your entry stop, I mean. Now that we know the bottom end of this immediate trading range, And as they get back down here, I can start to roll my buy stop in. All right, so now we've pretty much got the market sandwiched. A crude oil sandwich. So this is similar now to what my trading friend does, where he lets the report hit the floor, lets the market establish a range. Now he brackets that range and lets the market trade one way or the other. I'm just trying to demonstrate the OCO function here, though, so that you can see it fill the trade, cancel the other order. Well, here we'll make things a little bit tighter still so that we can get a fill on this. All right, are you going to fill me to the upside or not? You should. A buy above this level right here is safer. What I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to demonstrate the OCO function. So I rolled my entry in a little bit tighter. But if you're trying to do this for real, a buy here above 31.15 would be better. Wow, that's a bit of a disappointment. Kind of fizzled out. All right, well, we're going to get really cozy now. So we're going to bracket this last bar. So if this bar trades higher or lower, it should, there we go. Okay, so now you see that the other side of the order got canceled. And I automatically have a stop put in. See, Trade Manager automatically gave me a stop. Now it put the stop back a numerical amount, a preset amount, which I can adjust. Why did it do that? Well, because my stop strategy is currently against my trade, right? My stop strategy is down here. So now that the price has traded through the stop strategy, you see the blue dot has actually flipped up here. And now if the market continued lower, the trade manager will pick up my stop and move it lower. I just moved it up here so that you can see this happen. Assuming prices are going to make another move lower, which they're not doing at the moment. All right. Well, I think you get the idea anyway, how this stuff works. It's very sophisticated, to say the least. I'm going to put this away for now, and we're going to bring over the YM for Alexandra. And this is the YM now on the Raptor. And you can see it's fairly similar to what we're looking at with the NASDAQ. Oh, this one only has the single band on it. A lot of times I'll run a double band, and I'll show you how to do that. We're just going to grab another Raptor cloud. Where did you go? There it is. Raptor cloud, and we're going to change the settings on one of these clouds. We're just going to change the color. Oops. Come on, work with me. So maybe cornflower blue is pretty, and we'll change the band color to royal blue is nice. And there There we go. So now we have a double band. The whole point of the double band is one of the Raptor owners, his name's Ricardo, he kind of discovered that the market was making, sometimes it would fudge the band a little bit, and he really liked trading the hard edge bounces. So this is the hard edge. He would be looking here, the market hit the hard edge, came out, produced a signal. He would be looking to trade that type of signal. Here's that soft edge buy that I was just telling you about. It actually originated back here. This was the first soft edge buy, but we've got a nice little rally going on so far in the YM here on the Raptor. The Geiger counter still printing some of this history here, but the needle is definitely more bullish. And what I would be looking for if I was long this trade, I would be looking for the dial to swing and stay here on the red side. That tells me that the sellers are getting a lot more aggressive. But so long as it swings and holds on the buy side, we should be okay. We should see some follow through there. So that's what the YM is looking like this morning on the Raptor. A couple decent signals there. And let's take a look now at the Hawk. So here's the Hawk micro scalper, and we're currently generating a first micro macro cross signal. This is one of our high probability signals. Only problem with this particular signal is where do I cover the trade? So here's the hash mark. Let's see how this plays out. So here's the hash mark. First micro macro cross. I know it's a high probability trade, but it's only a couple ticks to enter in above the high, and I'll probably risk the trade down here to the macro line because there is a possibility we could see a macro pullback. All right, so there's a first micro macro cross on the YM on the scalper, and let's take a look now at the swing trader. Generated a trend change signal here at the bottom of the hour, which tends to happen, you know, about an hour into the session. If the market has had a dominant trend, very often we will see it reverse on the trend and head the other direction. And we are seeing some of that follow through here now. So again, the trend change signal, pretty easy to identify. Trend line changes color, goes from red to green. Here's the up portion, here's the down portion, here's the up portion, there's our signal, and away we go. And last but not least, let's take a look at the eagle. And why do I have, well, I do have two of those. And here's the eagle now. You can see it's not quite as fluid as what we were looking at on the NASDAQ. It's looking a little choppier, but still we got a high probability signal here with our green bar sell coming out of the hard edge. Very high probability signal, and that at least found our profit objective. Now, in actual fact, I would take this one. This would be my signal bar here. I would wait for the ATR to turn over, and this now becomes my signal bar. But this is something that we go over in the trading room every day. So you can see the market falls, hits our high probability target, and then starts to flounder a little bit, which you will see happen more often than not. All right, so there's the mini Dow for you. Clay asks, was that trend line a moving average? Yes, it's a proprietary moving average. It's got its own special tweak from Indicator Warehouse, but yes, that's what it is. Ray Burke always used to refer to it as a trend line, and I just kind of got into that habit as well. All right, so, well, we got a few more minutes here in the room. I do have a meeting at the top of the hour, so we're going to have to cut out a few minutes early so I can get ready for that. But if you have any questions, if there's any markets you would like me to pull up for you, please don't be shy. Oh, way to go, Tony. Tony bagged a crude oil trade. And let's pull crude oil over here, and we'll see what Tony was up to. So I have a feeling it was this first micro-macro cross signal right here. That high probability signal that I tell you about. So here we are. Tony gets in at 31.17, he says. So pretty much on the hash mark, a couple ticks higher. And not entirely sure where he covered his trade, but he was able to take 2 contracts on it. And a quick 10 ticks. And he's $200 richer. Well done. That's how you do it. Don't mess around. Just get in, get out. All right, so we've seen a little bit of a retracement here. The market obviously still in a downtrend today. The sellers aren't going to give it up entirely. Although I do suspect we will see the market drift a little bit higher. We're starting to get some of those clues now. Just snooping around here a little bit. Gold tailed off somewhat today too. And crude oil has slowed its rally since that breakout. Yeah, like Tony says, we've got the FOMC meeting out at 2 p.m. today. So you can expect, that's Eastern time, you can expect a lot of volatility to hit the market after that. I think you're going to see things cut loose here. All right, well, if there's no other questions, I think what we're going to do is we're going to close the room a few minutes early today. Like I said, I've got a meeting at the top of the hour I need to get ready for. If you do have any questions, please type quickly. Otherwise, thank you very much for your attendance today. I hope that you found it at least a little bit interesting. And DTS owners, I'm going to see you in the room again tomorrow morning. If you are trading this afternoon, like I said, you got to be cautious, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the market make a little bit of a retracement of this move lower than it's done this morning. All right, you guys, we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.